Welcome back. Budget season begins soon, and Wisconsin has more than $6 billion in surplus to mess with. What each party wants to do with that money could make a massive difference for you over the next 2 years. Political reporter Will Keneally brings us more from the Capitol.
This is part of our look at two competing plans for the state budget coming up this spring. Republicans remain in the driver's seat as they still have a majority in both chambers of the legislature. We sat down with Senator Howard Markline, a Republican from Spring Green, who co-chairs the state's powerful budget writing committee. We first asked him what his priorities are for this coming cycle.
We're obviously early in the process yet. We don't even know who the members of the Joint Finance Committee are yet on the Senate side. So we've got 5 new senators that are going to be joining the caucus. So, until we have them on board and have a conversation, I don't know that we've got a whole lot of real specifics at this point. From a personal standpoint, I want to make sure that we fund our core priorities, the essential services, the cost to continue for all of our agencies. So we need to pay our, keep government going, first of all, and then hopefully down the road we'll be able to talk about a tax cut.
So we also have the record-setting budget surplus. How does that factor in? Does that change this budget cycle compared to previous ones that you've been a part of?
We had a surplus coming into the last budget, so I don't know that it changes that significantly. The number's larger, but the inflationary impact to the state of Wisconsin as far as our expenses is also much larger. So, there's going to be bigger bills to pay, as we get into the next budget.
In terms of tax cut, we've heard throughout the campaign things like the personal property tax, possibly like a flat tax. Do you have a sense of what tax structure might look like that you might want to push for this next cycle here?
Well, we did eliminate the personal property tax, but that was vetoed last session. I'm sure that is going to be on the table again. That is, we're one of the only states in the United States that has a personal property tax yet. And so, that needs to end. Nobody has made a good argument to me as to why we should be keeping that. So I'm sure that's going to be one of the priorities for us as far as getting a tax cut. And as far as the other flat tax and all that, we haven't talked about that at all in caucus. So I don't know to what extent we're going to be pursuing that.
So you mentioned, obviously, that the personal property tax elimination was vetoed by the governor. We had heard that the governor had reached out to legislative leadership. Has he reached out to joint finance leadership, too? Have you had any discussions with him at all about ways to kind of move forward together?
No. Okay. The last time I talked to the governor was through my smashed windows on the first floor 2 years ago.
Any similar conversations with your colleagues on the committee, Democrats on the committee?
No. Again, we haven't started the process yet. I mean, nothing is going to begin until after the first of the year.
Got it. Wonderful. And will this be paused, or does the special election for the 8th Senate District have any kind of bearing? You mentioned the new members to the caucus at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that from a process standpoint, I suspect the process will be similar to what we did the last budget from a time frame standpoint and process standpoint.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
So that's on the Republican side, but Democrats still have a role in the budget process. The governor gets to set the agenda by creating a draft of the budget, then gets to veto any changes that the legislature makes. We sat down with one of the Democrats on the powerful budget writing committee, Madison Senator Kelda Roys.
And it's our job to make sure that the people know what has been done in their name.
And this will be the first year Madison's State Senator Kelda Roys takes on that job on the state's powerful budget writing committee. She joins Democrats on the committee who are in the minority. She says part of her job will be to hold Republicans accountable.
There are a lot of things that if you actually talk to voters, they broadly agree on. That's, things like making sure local governments have funding.
And that's been one of the big campaign pushes for Democrats. With state coffers full, send some of that money back to municipalities.
This is something where you've got, Republican town chairmen and Democratic county executives saying that they cannot perform the essential services of local government.
And she says that affects even larger cities like Madison.
The Inflation Reduction Act and some of the coronavirus relief bills, and that has helped to fill the gap in some of these really critical services. But that money is not going to last forever.
So she wants to see more money given to cities, something called shared revenue. And right now on the Senate side of that joint committee, the two Democrats are from Madison and Milwaukee. Royce sees a benefit to that.
When Robin Vos said, well, if you just take Madison and Milwaukee out of the equation, then Wisconsin would be a red state. But I'm just as much a Wisconsinite as Robin Vos is. I'll put my cheese tasting ability up to his any day.
Thank you. We'll be right back.